Okay, wow, exactly 1,000. It's a big matchup for both of us. E3, because we want to go bishop D3. I'll go F4 to stop E5. Okay, we got our setup here. Now let's go knight D2 first, remember? Cover that square, so don't let him jump in. Knight F3 and knight E5 is happening. And this is the worst setup you could end up in as black. I just want to reiterate. There are a lot of ways that the position could look like after 7 moves. This, I would argue, is the worst possible way it could be. Truly. Knight's going to go there. Black doesn't have access to this square. This move is completely irrelevant. And yeah, you can see my opponent is not having a good time here. Always take with the F-pawn, but yeah, I knew that this one was going to be a very quick win because that bishop with no scope, not trading for my bishop, not taking my knight, nothing. It was always going to be tough for black. Let's guard the pawn for now. Good rule is like whenever F6 or F5 gets played, if we can take it, we almost always do, so. Knight C5 is a good move for me to see because I think after bishop C2, we might win more material due to this pin. But a good defensive move there. C6, I'll hit the knight. Really encouraging knight takes pawn now, which would be a mistake, of course. E5, queen D3. It all looks fairly unstoppable. So I'm going to open up this diagonal, queen D3, and again, we might see some fireworks before move 20 here. Once again. Very tough to play for my opponent here. So if you try to run right now, I'm probably able to just play knight g5, and I've got so many pieces ready to swing on it. He goes here. I'm going to take without thinking because I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and my other rook joining. Too many pieces. So we just want to avoid the king running like all the way. So I have a couple moves. Queen h7. If king here, then bishop g6. If king here, then rook f1. I think that's the simplest. You could also try this, but I'm not sure it's necessary. This looks more or less forcing. That'll be a good game, well played. This will be a 23 move game. Pretty quick once again. Yeah, there's a lot to think about now that there's only one square. All right. GG. I can't state this enough. This is the worst possible setup you can have for black. You're not allowed to use that square. You don't have c5 because your knight's in the way. You don't have e5. And you're sitting there wondering what the hell to do. And knight e5 is about to come. So this particular setup is the absolute worst against the Stonewall because knight e5, it's like you can't even touch it. As soon as he took it, it was dead lost. All right, we got the white pieces again. d4, e3. This move isn't threatened, so don't feel like I need to do it f4 just yet. Now I do. So e5 would have happened. I played e6. Hang on a sec. Faf 09. Oh no, guys. Oh, it's gonna be the same thing. This is the worst setup. Oh. I feel bad. This is just gonna hurt. 95, keep it simple. Oh, I mean, how easy is this? I'm just doing the exact same thing every single time. Just play 95. Not doing anything special here. They're just blundering a fork. We literally just played the exact same game twice. Like, quite basic. Let's take here. We're up a full piece, so all trades are good trades. That's the rule. Probably bishop here to attack d8. I'm thinking if I go there now, he goes h6. But if he puts a rook on d8, then I can challenge it like that. Ooh, rook a5. Special little move there. Let's guard that pawn. Hit the rook and that would be a very bad move. That would be a very good move. We'll see which one he's interested in. For the moment, neither. I'm gonna set up my rook for a potential rook g3 move. Nice move there. Let's push upon h5 to just contain the king. And that's the move I was waiting for. I wasn't sure if he was going to do it. That's what I was waiting for. I think we have a nice move here. If he takes, we have check and rook g7. And we're threatening mate in 2. Mate in 2 is going to be rook h7 and rook g7. The only way to stop it is actually to move this rook anywhere here. But as soon as you do that, then I'll check, and take this pawn, and I'll be threatening unstoppable mate in 1, which maybe you could only stop with a few spite checks. So I think this is just a forced sequence here. As tempting as it is to pre-move that, we don't want to run into rook f7. Good game. Faf 09. Guys, didn't we just play this exact game? I'm serious. Like, I just went over it. As soon as they go e6, it's like, okay, wrap this up, you know? And you might be thinking in a lot of cases, you know, how come I'm not playing knight d2 to take this square right away? I think c3 is more important because I don't want to deal with knight b4. It's kind of like meh. And as soon as this happens, like, I mean, white's just so much better right now. And it's so difficult in this position for black to not take this knight. It's so tough. Almost no one can resist it. Maybe you should make another move, like move your knight out of the way or something, but almost nobody does that. It just doesn't happen. Everybody takes your damn knight and take back the f-pawn, and it's that easy. Light squares aren't a problem here. Well, that's why I've taken care to defend those squares with my pieces. Pawns on dark squares, pieces cover light squares. Oh, they're handing me the black pieces all of a sudden. That's fine. The Stonewall can't be stopped that easily. E6. I'm going to stop E4 here. Bishop to E6. He brings the knight in. Good move. I'm playing knight F6 to stop queen H5. As soon as the knight comes into E5, your first thought should be, well, as if you have the Stonewall set up, or if your opponent does, whatever, is, you know, is this actually possible and is it dangerous? I'm gonna castle. Now, if I play knight D7 next move, we should all understand that knight takes C6 can be played. I've talked about that tactic before. Knight here is not playable because there's a tactic on your hanging bishop. So you have to move your queen first. Then you can bring the knight. Takes with the bishop. We can still bring our bishop out. Still looking at knight E4. Knight E4, you can't resist taking that knight, can you? It's a great piece. How are you gonna say no to that? Aren't you a sucker for a smile? All right, time for the rook to say hello. Don't say I never threatened nothing. Good defensive move. That was absolutely needed. Now, how are we going to try to break through here? Let's just bring the rest of the pieces over. Okay, get gone. You're attacking my pawn. Sure. You want to trade for my bishop? I'm pretty much always going to say fine because it's never a great piece. I have a way to activate it, but I'm always going to be okay if you decide to take it. And we all know if he takes here, I'm more than happy. Opening up my rook on F8. Oh, this is beautiful. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, bishop to G4. This one isn't that good. I'm thinking of continuing my idea there. Let's do this. E5 is also kind of nice. I'll tell you one thing I don't really like. I don't really like C4 happening, so I'm just gonna go ahead and deal with that. You can play A4. Just gonna secure my pawns here. And E5 is the really nice move because then I've kind of gotten rid of my, or dealt with my biggest weakness in the position. We don't care about the B4 pawn. We're sticking with the fundamentals here. Ooh, rook A7. So not threatening anything. We're not really doing anything there, so I think we will bring our rook back into the action. Yeah, playing on the queen side for any reason does not feel good. In the Stonewall, you're like, ugh, something feels gross here. What am I doing? Wait a minute. You are offering me to trade? No. It can't be. I feel like I just hit the lottery there. Jackpot. Takes. We have to be careful that the queen and rook don't coordinate on that. Pretty solid game by my opponent here. I mentioned not letting the queen and rook coordinate. If I just took a pawn in my opponent's position and they're not reacting, but instead making a different move, I should probably pay attention to what that different move is threatening. Most likely. I don't think that threatens too much. Let's take here. Queen takes on d4. The retreating move, always tough to see. You know? Very nice. We've had a couple, yeah, almost 3 games in a row, I think, with the black pieces, so. Give me the white pieces again. I'm rearing to go. d4. If you move the bishop too early, they play this move and they hit your pawn, and then it's kind of annoying because you want to be able to play f4 and knight f3. And if your bishop's already moved, you can't play both of them at once. Ooh, I like to see that move. Right? He's blocking his bishop. That's always a very good sign. Let's castle. Okay. So he's setting this up, but his king's not castled. He has to be very careful of that move right there. And it's so easy to play this and just not understand that move's coming. So I give him a lot of credit for playing g6. However, I don't think I'm going to be pausing here. I'm probably just going to send g4. He's played this move. I think it's a big mistake. Bishop pins the knight now. I have takes and queen h5. And the most likely outcome is, well, we got a free piece here. We got a queen potentially mate coming on h5. There's a lot of bad stuff about to happen. And this is all from him trying to match the Stonewall with knight e4 and f5, but just doing it way too early. So there's a free piece there on c6. If I take this way, there's queen d6 or queen d7. Both moves look bad for me, so I mean, I kind of just have to take the obvious answer and win the piece. And remember, his knight, I can just kick it out immediately with knight d2. I'm ready to take him. He goes queen here. Takes, queen h5, king there. I'm not really getting any mate or anything, so I don't think there's much going on there. I'm going to play c4. I could absolutely just play a simple move like knight c3 or knight d2, but I wanted to include c4 to loosen up that knight on the e4 square. So even though I've lost the pawn in doing this, I have queen f3, which is kind of a nice move. This pawn's very weak. And I still have this threat. Remember, if you take, I'm taking this way, and you can't castle either direction. Bishop a3 will threaten mate as well. Always take with the f-pawn. I think unless my opponent offers a queen trade, probably in big trouble here. Good move. Let's see if we can get a fun mate for the fans out there. Queen c6 also is covered. Let's bring this bishop here. Nice moves by him. He's not ready to get mated. I'll give him that. Check. And I think our queen can drop back somewhere here. Make our way back to that side of the board. We have this rook coming here. I think he's about to run out of safe squares. Check. I think this is the easiest. This looks like it might lead to a mate as well, though. More forcing. Yeah, we actually have a piece on all three of these files, so the only move is to block with the queen. GG. Another, I would say, very successful Stonewall. F5 is just too much. That move is too much. He needs to play G6 here. I think, you know, when you see this, moves like C4 and G4 come to mind to loosen up that knight because he's way too slow in this position. He should be playing E6, but instead he makes a horrible blunder. Now after bishop b5, I think white's in very good shape. Well, Butner, taking the f-pawn doesn't require my opponent to take back, right? Also, my knight is about to be taken, so it's not quite game over. That's why I played this bishop move. Because, I mean, this is decent, but of course, knight can take, maybe pawn can take. Best I could do is maybe win a pawn, but I'm not even that convinced that that's good for me, to be quite honest with you. After takes, check, e6. I don't know. Black's about to move the king if queen h5. I'm scared about getting mated myself. I'm just not totally convinced there. So bishop b5 is a free piece, though. I can't argue with that. The queen check. It's just a check, though. Remember, in that position, I'm about to be mated in one in the corner. You're getting me one check. The king moves, and then what? Black's got an open file, a queen coming over, a knight, a bishop aimed directly at my king, and you got one pawn for that. I'm not buying it. I'd rather just sign up for a position where I have some clear advantages. Like right now, I have a lead in development. I'm castled. I'm trading all that in for just a pawn. Doesn't seem like a fair deal. All right, Fuad. We're gonna start with d4. And e3 as usual. Bring the bishop out and knight c6, f4. Okay, goes g6. We'll go f4. Castle. Of course, I'm looking at knight d2 as well. He has this bishop, which he needs to kind of decide what he's going to do with it. Bishop f5 or bishop g4. But I'll bring my knight there just to stop knight e4 for the moment. I never think black's position is good when you have this against the Stonewall. It just doesn't make sense. Oh. Oh my goodness, that move could not have been worse. Oh, e6 is really bad, unfortunately for him. Bishop f5 and bishop g4 were so much better to try to trade off that bishop. Now it's like not having a good time. Here comes knight e5, and all the problems start. Okay, knight h5. Well, the move g4 essentially forces the knight back, and I'm interested in that because I think he might be planning f5 and then knight back and knight e4. I don't even want a hint of that. So I'm going to force the knight to go back. Then I think we're going to follow up with queen f3. Again, interested in taking this way. h6. Well, remember, I'm not too interested in this because it really relinquishes my control over the knight here. So I want that pawn to stay there, that's for sure. But we need to do something here. So I'm thinking either queen here, and like play h4, g5. I could go h4 straight away. I think we'll just go h4 and throw g5 in there. Why the heck not? Well, without thinking too much here, I know we have two good moves, g5 and h5. The reason I think, I mean, if I go g5 and they take, I actually have to take this way, which I don't love. I always want to take this way. So for that reason, I'm going to play h5. Opens up this diagonal. I'm still taking this way. And it opens a g file, which I would love to use. g5. Interesting. Interesting. Definitely thinking about e4 just to crank the entire position wide open. There is bishop takes here, but I'm not sure that it's a pretty good move, but it does trade a lot of my pieces off, which is maybe a little concerning. So my two candidate ideas are bishop takes, knight takes, takes, e4. That's one line, which I think was quite good for me. And then the other one is just e4. And I'm just kind of saying with that move that I don't think my opponent will be able to survive the attack. If I'm playing objectively, I think this is the way to go. So we'll make the objective decision here. Take that, take that. So even though I gave up my light squared bishop, I also took his. Then I'll take this pawn, open up my queen and rook, and we'll make sure to conclude this variation with e4, which is exactly the move we want to try to free our knight and have the bishop and knight both join the position. Eyeball that. Ooh. Not the one I would expect. I think he sees it, you know, to his credit. Damn, he could have seen knight e7, which does stop that move. Pawn takes here is actually interesting because he's forced to go back there. I'm definitely tempted by that, but I don't think there's anything afterwards. He's just going to resign it. It is dead lost. Yeah, it was an interesting choice here. I think this move would have been fun, but ultimately I think we made a fair decision to trade and open up my F file. I can't stress enough, like, this move is so bad. You gotta develop your bishop. After seeing that, I think White's position becomes so strong once again. Black needs to take control over some of these squares in the center, and it just wasn't happening. Yeah, this is like a very aggressive way to play. The other way to play would just be to play in the center, like something like e4. Hoping to play like that, which is good as well. Next, hey, it's our buddy Bob K999. Well, I think he knows what opening we might be going for. You want to play c3, solidify that. There comes f4, right? And you'll notice the Stonewall is not the London, right? The London has the bishop out there. The Stonewall does not. So that actually doesn't make a single threat. Next. We don't mind that. And we always take with the e-pawn, don't we? Always, always, always. Guarding that square, guarding the knight. He's done the right thing by getting the bishop out ahead of this move. So I absolutely give him a lot of credit for that. I think this will be played. So I'm just trying to get ready for that move. If I castle, I want my next move to be queen e1 to get out of the pin and play knight e5, but I don't have time with this pawn hanging. So I'm either castling and playing g3, which is a little or force the issue right now. And I am kind of liking that. If I take with the knight, I don't really like knight e4. So I'm trying to avoid that. That's why I'm going to take with the queen. Good move. Again, I'm not really going to bother taking that. We don't really like those positions where the pawn takes here, because then he has such good control over this. And unfortunately, a little bit of a mistake there by Bob K as he walks into handing me a free piece. But yeah, seriously, in the London system, this move is so annoying. But in the Stonewall, this move does absolutely nothing to you. So you're really fine to just ignore it. Our bishop, of course, sucks on c1, but the one thing it is doing is guarding b2. So. Ooh, not exactly dealing with queen takes h7. I think he's fortunate, though, that at least he made himself unintentionally, is my guess, unintentionally made himself an escape square. Knight here, takes. Even though I can't take it because of the pin, I am inclined to say that that's probably a good position for me. So it activates my bishop here. So even though we technically lose a pawn. I think the activation of my pieces is kind of nice. Queen e4. Looks pretty good. Rook e1. I'm looking at all these moves. Let's do this one. Queen on h7, although it started off this whole king journey, it's not doing anything there anymore. So let's bring it back into the action where it can actually affect the game. Takes rook b1 should lead to something good down there. It's actually mate in 1 on b7. Queen b7 is indeed checkmate, so naturally we will look for better. Have to keep finding better, baby. Boy, it's a struggle to keep finding better, I tell you. Taking everything he owns. We have a pin here, so actually all these moves result in checkmate. Now he has to use his queen. Check. And now we can back rank maiden. Now that we've created the wall, we can simply deliver a basic back rank mate. GG to Bob K, our buddy from the chat. Good game, Bob. So Bob actually did something which allowed me to make a very instructive point. Bob K. So you did something here which is such a natural move. You played queen b6. And I was reminding people, if this pawn was here and that bishop was there, and you and I were playing a London system, your move would be fantastic, putting pressure on b2. But because I was playing a Stonewall and my bishop was on c1, most times in the Stonewall, I don't move this bishop unless I'm doing that plan, and I often don't move it until way later in the middle game. So my bishop is going to stay here all game anyway. And guess what? It's defending the pawn, which is what you're attacking, and you're not attacking anything on d4, right? That's so well defended. So queen b6 is actually not a very good move in this against this system. So I think you can leave the queen at home and just develop your bishop normally. But while queen b6 is a tremendous move in the London, it's not very good at all against the Stonewall for that very reason. Weren't even watching the stream before the game started. You just woke up, decided to join chess.com for a game, and there I was, waiting for you in the 5-minute pool. But you still got a good game here, Bob. Like, this was good. You should just trade bishops here. Nothing wrong with the way you played. Bishop d6, you just missed the pin, obviously. All right, we got the black pieces. As usual, we'll go with the French, and this is nice because we'll probably get a capture. Yay! This helps us get our Stonewall set up. Whoa. The hell was that? A4. All right, let's get castled as well, buddy. Okay, we're pinned. I would love to play this move, but after queen e2, if I play knight there, I'm blundering that. So I think we do need to just kind of secure the center here. I know there are some good moves to play there for me, but we're going to forego those moves in favor of the Stonewall. Hey, what the hell is that? That looks like an aggro move. I'm not in the business of dealing with aggressive moves. You've angered me. Now I will give you this check. Yeah, now what? Now what? Like I said, you've angered me. The Stonewall is coming to get his revenge. Let's go here. I mean, rook c8 is a pretty nice looking move. Check. Check to you, Peter. Mr. Sherman. Oh, Peter, that's what happens when you play c4. Can't have you assaulting my center like that, Peter. And for the last time, don't do that again. Nasty mate there for buddy Peter. You thought I blundered? I've never blundered in my entire life. I just need to win this game using the Stonewall, and they'll take me seriously at chess.com headquarters. Remember, knight c6, we're playing f4. Yeah. And if... Oh, please don't play that move, buddy. Just for your own sake, don't do it. There we go. Nice move. Getting the bishop out. That's the way it should be. Nicely done. All right, I'm going to play c3 again, taking care of knight b4. My next move is absolutely knight d2. Covering that square, we want a castle. Queen e1 is a nice next move that we've talked about before. Or, of course, I could go with h3. And look, he's rushing into e4. That square is not available for you, my friend. That's exactly why I put my pieces there. And before you guys go, bishop h7, knight g5 wins the bishop. Queen takes g5 will put you out of commission there. Queen c2, threatening this. And after h6, boom, knight e5 comes in. Hits like a truck. All right, queen e5. Let's see here. I see the bishop on c1. It's eyeballing that queen on g5. But I'm not sure if that's enough. I don't think I have any threats just because of that. I'm going to offer a trade, which will help lift my rook and open my bishop. No way he sees that. It's impossible. The bishop is way too far away. Damn it. Proven wrong yet again. Developing my pieces. If knight here, I am going to play rook g3. Bring all the pieces over. This pawn controls f5, which is very key. But we need more threats. We're not quite there yet. Ooh. Poor guy. Poor guy. He's pinned. Whoa. Queen a5. Threatening a2. That's a very meaningful pawn. That was my great-grandpappy's pawn. Rook and bishop takes h6. Both look good. But I think, although there's one single check down the line, I think this, and this should be a very resounding mate. Check. And I think just push that pawn. Oh, he didn't want it. I was going to play e5. We also hit 1100 on the dot, which is kind of nice. You know, just nice clean number. Looks pretty. Maybe chess.com will take me seriously for the insights now. That's all it took. We just had to be in 1100. It unlocked the insights. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay. Well, I have to play some games, Jumpy Chess, to level the account up. So some of them are from that. What do we want? Moves? Move quality. Brilliant. 17 total brilliancies. And I only started playing the... Stonewall, not in 147 games, but actually in like... probably closer to 100 or 90 games. So it's... because I have to play like a bunch of games to level the account up, and then we reset the rating and start from 400. So probably only 90 or so games have been in the Stonewall. Yeah, the thing is, what I was going for, Matt Amoroso, I was realizing that it was going by... I realized that it was going by number of moves, of course. I was thinking number of games. Like, how many total games do I have? And in how many total games did I have a brilliancy? Let's say it's 17. That doesn't seem bad for less than 100 games in the Stonewall. What I'm saying is that you're getting a brilliancy in 1 out of 5 of your games. Wow, look at you. You made it, didn't you? To the end of another Stonewall episode. Well, congratulations. And if you're watching and enjoying, but you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that button right now. Also, click that bell to turn on post notifications so you never miss another video. See you in the next episode.